Governor of the county of Busia. Thank you so much.
When you go back, take our greetings back and tell him we are waiting for him.
Thank you. Thank you, I will.
As we go into the World Press Freedom Day, which is coming up on the 3rd of May, I wanted to look at environmental matters and try to create a relationship. Just tell us your thoughts about Environmental Day vis-a-vis journalism or media practice, especially in areas of highlighting environmental matters.
Yeah, thank you again. As I mentioned, and as we are all aware, this is coming in the middle of environmental crisis, not just in Kenya, but in the entire world. And all this information is being disseminated through media. So it is very, very important. And the celebration that is we are expecting on Friday, on 3rd of May, is just a commemoration of emphasis of freedom of media. Media, as you know, is also referred as the fourth estate, the fourth in power in terms of the dissemination of information, and it's a very important medium of creating awareness on environmental matters, educating, informing, and therefore you cannot detach the matter, the issues that we are addressing from the media, because the information has to be disseminated anyway, to reach people, to alarm people for preparedness and for corrective measures. So we really rely on media, especially as a government agencies, to make communications to the population, to the masses, because matters of environment are cross-cutting. They're affecting people right at the grassroots. So without having media in partnership, then reaching the grassroots becomes a very difficult challenge. So media freedom has to be emphasized, not just in the area of environment alone, but across all the sectors. The freedom of media, so that the right information in the accuracy levels that is required gets to the right people in the right time. Thank you.
Can you talk about the challenges your department is handling at the moment? You see, we keep on looking at reaching specific targets. We have 15 billion trees. Busia County, you could be having specific challenges which you are facing at the moment, and how your department is handling them.
Thank you. It is everywhere as we speak now that we are in the times of environmental crisis. There is issues of climate change, which of course directly addressing the environmental matters. We are having extreme phenomena. On the other side, you have extreme droughts or long periods of dry, lack of rainfall. And then on the flip side, the rain comes, and there also comes in excesses. Busia specifically, over the ages, the issues of flooding in the lower side of Busia, which is basically the Budalangi towards the lake. They have been there historically, but now the issues are changing, the climate change issues. Previously, we would get floodings from River Nzoia, that is from the upstream of Trans Nzoia and Bungoma. But currently we have a rare phenomena where we have the lake levels rising and having backflow. So even in the dry periods where you're not having rains or you're not having swollen rivers, you still have floodings, yeah?
Okay, so where do those waters come from?
The rising lake levels, that is Lake Victoria levels, the water, there is an environmental explanation to that, which may be a bit technical for me, but from the layman, you find yourself the lake coming to the mainland and submerging land, and not just small quantities. We submerging as backwards as 4-5 acres. I mean 4-5 kilometers of settlements get submerged. In fact, if you went down there, the locals will tell you that my home used to be somewhere, and it's pointing you almost in the middle of the lake. So these are very rare phenomena, and it is, these climate change matters. On the upper side of Busia, which is now on the slopes of Mount Elgon of Teso, there is land degradation. There is even earth movements in terms of mud flows when there are heavy rains, and carrying all the land and the earth and moving downstream into the water bodies.
Yes.
So these are the challenges, different challenges in the different areas of the county, but we are addressing them. Of course, with the support with the other agencies, national government and other development partners.
Yeah, you see, when we talk about rising levels of Lake Victoria,
yes,
in the press today we have the conversation about experiences from Migori. They say that the lake has swollen, and with it chasing away the fish. Now, I did look at it from the point of view that land is disappearing into the lake. What will be the immediate interventions from the administration, and what do you think we as the middlemen should do? What kind of coverage should we be able to bring out? What kind of highlights can we be able to focus on, so that we also support your efforts in mitigation measures?
Thank you, Wanakitui.
Yeah.
In terms of intervention, when the lake swells and it flows back, submerging homes, of course, the immediate intervention is rescue and relocating,
yes,
the affected people to safer grounds. And we have, of course, an established camp, disaster rescue area, which is at a place called Mundere.
Currently, in
yes, it is, and there are people there. And the camp is like a hostel with dorms, able to accommodate up to 2,000 families, and some other areas within the county, the high level areas where the drainage is proper. So the immediate intervention is to rescue people, of course, provide food rations, and give them the support that we can give. But this is a temporary, intervention. Then in the long term, of course, there will have to be a permanent resettlement, because you cannot drain the lake, of course.
And you cannot take people back.
You cannot take people into the waters. Of course, they cannot get back. It's not habitable. So those are the interventions. And as for the media, we are very, very currently happy with the coverage that you're giving us. As I said, this information is very important. Some of this information helps us, even as a government, to prepare and plan in time. Information we get through the media, either from meteorological department, it helps us to plan, to help us to organize the interventions that we are mentioning here. So the media partnership is very important, and we will continue supporting. Even as I am here, I'm sure this opportunity, you will give me an opportunity to mention one or two things which will help somebody somewhere. Yeah, so this kind of partnership, we really encourage and support it.
When we look at, there is the only way we know how to address environmental matters, to increase the forest cover, to increase vegetation. At what level are you? Because we started by talking about 15 billion trees. How many have you planted so far? And where are you getting these seedlings? Because when I pass by the villages, the people selling seedlings are along the roads. And then you guys are planting the same trees. And these ones are here, but you're still planting trees. Where do you get them?
Yeah, that is a cycle. Of course, as you plant, others also sprout and grow. Issues of, I know you're addressing the presidential, agenda of 15 billion trees, which is also
a quarter for
yes. And okay, the matters of environment and climate change, as I said, they are global. They are addressed right on the on the global platform. Just end of last year, there was a COP28, which was very highly publicized by the media, which had about 70,000 delegates. And Kenya alone had over about 765 representation. And that is the emphasis on how important the climate change matters are. Now, also last year in this country, we hosted the entire continent under African Climate Change Summit, which was hosted for about 3-4 days last year, September. The same was just on the emphasis of the need to address the mitigation and of course the resilience of the climate change that we're experiencing. So out of that, then there are programs which are developed at national level and right also at the county level. And these agencies are working closely. In fact, we are integrated. Remember, we normally say there are 48 governments, 1 national government and 47 county governments.
Yes.
So even the plans of 15 billion trees have to happen within a county, of course.
Yes.
We are working closely with agencies like Kenya Forest Services, agencies like they're called whatever, the tower, water tower, something. And last year, when during the National Tree Growing Day, it's not even called tree planting because you have to plant and grow the tree. We set a target of 100,000, which we achieved in that period, actually in a week, that week of National Tree Planting. And this is a continuous exercise, and we really align to the annual rainfall calendar. Right now we are the long rains, and our teams are very busy planting trees. We are collaborating with the institutions, the schools. We have actually a program under tree planting for public institutions, where we go to the institutions, who deliver trees, and also promote students to adopt a tree. Because once you plant there as an agency, as an officer, I will go home. But there is a student there, a boy in class 5, class 3,
yes,
who is there regularly. So it is a good approach which is helping us such that once you are out, there is a sustainability approach. So we achieved that. We are also setting up, promoting existing nurseries in each sub-counties, at least 3 major nurseries, which are being manned by youths and women. We support them. There is a program called Financing Locally Led Climate Action, FLOCA, which has just gotten into implementation. And this, we have set aside a significant budget of about 60 million just on environmental and tree planting activities.
yes,
Away from tree planting, we also are trying to give these people an alternative source of livelihood so that they also reduce the deforestation, cutting of trees. Remember, as you plant, there are others who are cutting.
yes.
So for these ones who are cutting, we're giving them alternative sources of income, engaging them in other activities. There is beekeeping activities, other income generating activities, which will still provide them income without necessarily cutting the trees. Same for fuel. There is this bamboo. You must have heard of it. Yes, bamboo is a very fast growing plant.
I was involved in an activity within Bondo.
Yes.
That was ages ago. I think I represented an agency that did seedlings. We did some propagation there and we planted a ton of them.
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
So in Busia County, as we speak today, we are working together with an agency called Eco Green, partnering together, and others, and even private persons. We have a target of 6,000 acres of bamboo vegetation to plant.
Okay.
Yeah, and also of course doing value addition, fabricating, making briquettes. This is meant providing alternative solution to cooking, which will then minimize or reduce the issues of deforestation for fuel and energy provision.
But you see, as you explain, you avoid so much going into the figures. I ask you, what are the numbers like? Because if the target is 15 billion, it means Busia has, what is the quota for Busia County, and how much of it have you covered up to today?
We have a target, an annual target of 500,000.
Yes.
That is growing, that is as a government. But remember, we are also promoting, by doing this, the tree nurseries, we are also promoting the communities.
Yes.
Remember, these trees, majority of our land tenure system here, our land ownership system here is privately owned. So we are promoting the communities, you know, providing seedlings, providing awareness, encouraging, and even extension services somehow.
Yes.
So as a county government, we have, I said, an annual target of 500,000.
Yes.
Targeting public institutions. We have hilly areas, restoration of hilltops, but we are going to enhance, you know, our target, because this is meant, of course, confined by budgetary limitations, as you understand. As I said, we have just started a program of financing locally led, which is also targeting the same area, and we see this doubling or even tripling our contribution towards that 15 billion tree coverage.
Okay.
Yeah.
I remember when I visited Bumbe Institute, I planted, I think they gave me 2 I planted 2 of them.
Yes.
So I also played a role.
Do
you give allowances for people who plant?
you enjoy fresh air, and of course
there is an element of you see, there's climate change. Most of us don't really understand when we talk about environmental matters. Then we have natural resources, then we have climate change.
Yeah.
So the 3 things, of course, water is visible, but then climate change, and then there is natural resources. Natural resources, we just talked about interventions you guys have. You're encouraging guys to invest in beekeeping and other methods of sustaining the forest cover while making a living out of it. So that means that resource is, as in, up to a certain level, getting protected. You get?
Yes.
And then, at what point do we start seeing effects of climate change? When this forest is removed, or when it is still here, and someone is earning a living from it. And then there is this rain phenomena. At some point we'll have floods, and another point we'll have long droughts. So these could be effects of climate change, which we don't understand. But then in Busia County, on that level, how do we explain it? How do we talk about it? So that we are, number 1, relevant, and number 2, we are delivering the right content to those people we are interacting with. I want you to mark that the word climate change, and internationally it's a crisis. But here in Western Kenya, we don't really feel it, because we are in our normal, as we are seeing normal things. In fact, we're enjoying some of the atmosphere we live in. So the word crisis doesn't really make sense to us. So I would like you to come in and just explain a bit. Natural resources, climate change, you see, at what point or what content we need to use to explain to people so that they understand it the way it should be.
Thank you, Kitui. Those are, of course, the 3 terms which are commonly used, and maybe they confuse. Just to put it in a layman's language, in a simple language for understanding, natural resources, of course, are these things that we use which have been provided by nature. We found them there, we utilize, the land is there, the forestation, and everything that we use that we have not created, we have not manufactured.
And Busia has in plenty in the name of the lake.
The water, the minerals, everything under earth or on the earth's surface. Those are natural resources. Now, in the process of utilization of natural resources for the survival and development and advancement of humanity, we have caused changes in the climatic conditions, and this is explained by in scientific terms, very detailed. But basically, in the process of development, we have polluted the environment, and by polluting the environment, there is what we call some gas called the ozone layer, which has the gas accumulated and formed some form of blanket shielding between the earth and the surface and the upper. And that has caused alterations of the climatic conditions, basically rising in the scientific terms they're talking of, the temperatures have increased beyond pre-industrialization period, and the increase in temperatures have now altered the entire structure of the climatic conditions. So that then brings unpredictable sometimes or the erratic nature of the climate, not just rains, even the heat. You find, in fact, last year they said was the hottest year for the last 40 years. Yeah, you find elements of climate which are the temperature, rainfall, drought, they are occurring in an abnormal way or unusual way. You know, not what it used to.
Yes,
the trends have changed, and this has actually been caused by the human developments, mainly in the industrialization and exploration of natural resources. Of course, the environment just means the surrounding.
Yes.
And so if you're saying climate change in the environment, it just means your
surroundings
has changed.
Yes.
Yeah. What we used to feel in January is not how it is anymore.
Yes.
And so then the efforts have come in now to try to revert back. And all these trees, I mean, the efforts of planting trees, 15 billion trees, what is the target? There is that we call it Paris Declaration, which the world agreed to just try and reduce the increase in the temperature by less than 2 degrees. So we are all targeting to just bring down the temperatures, the global temperatures, average global temperature,
just about 2 degrees.
Yes, to about 2 degrees. And that is done by, of course, afforestation, which will reduce the absorption, what we call it carbon sequestration, absorbing carbon from the air and of course, reducing the ozone layer coverage thickness. So it is a complex factor, but it's just basically on how we live. You know, don't cut trees, and you can understand that if you've been around for long, the forest cover in the 70s, before the population pressure came in, we had huge forest coverages.
Yes.
Now you don't see them because of pressure on land.
Yes.
You know, agricultural activities. If you look at rivers down there in Busia, of course all the rivers flow towards the lake in this region. If you look at the quality of water here in Bungoma, which is on the upstream, go down there, River Sio, where we draw water even for town treatment, I mean for consumption, the water looks like porridge, you know. The soil erosion, the contamination is quite high, the turbidity is very high. So all these factors just come to in terms of what we are, our ways of life,
yes,
which we are trying to revert back and do backtracking to ensure that we conserve our environment and reduce the impacts of these climate change actions. Yeah.
We are seated with the engineer, Honorable Waziri, right?
That is too much. Yes.
Andrew Meso is the CC in the County Government of Busia. We're discussing matters environment and the media. In a bit, when we come back, we're going deep into the conversation just to understand a little more of what he has to tell us. We want to take a short break, and when we do this, I want to encourage you to stay on our social media. On X, we are Westv _ Kenya. Facebook is Westv Kenya. You can always reach me on at Mr. Kitui on X and Kitui Ohasimiti on Facebook. Keep the conversation going. We're also found on YouTube, Westv Kenya. In a bit, we'll be back.
Thank you.
Westv, tazama ilivyo.
Kupata ni wewe by Evangelist Ezekiel. Kama sikiza tuni yako, dial star 811 star 903 hash, dial star 811 star 903 hash and bless your callers.
Westv, tazama ilivyo.
Welcome back. We want to thank you for staying on Westv as we continue with the conversation on the morning scope. This morning, I'm seated with Waziri Engineer Andrew Meso, a son from Marachi, right?
Thank you. Yeah, true.
Marachi people at all. One day you tell me why they. Okay, let's see. Every challenge comes with an opportunity.
Yes.
What opportunities are there? And you see, when we talk about opportunities, we're looking at innovative opportunities.
Yes.
Because this is the present day, 2024. It means the opportunities that exist are not the ones that were there in 1924.
Yeah.
We are using the current knowledge. We have a current way of taking advantage of issues,
Yes.
so that we can turn challenges to opportunities.
Yeah.
So within Busia County,
Yes.
what opportunities exist in the area of environmental and climate conditions in that county?
Yeah, thank you. We, as you mentioned, of course, challenges bring about innovations to, of course, survival, and then in the process, the opportunities are, identified. In Busia, on the lower side, as we complain of floods and excess water, there is a very good ecosystem for blue economy. Blue economy, that is the the economic activities associated with the water.
Yes.
One is fishing, and our government has really put up a mechanism to improve the fish rearing, aquaculture activities. And there is this what we call fish caging. I know you don't have that in Bungoma.
We have no idea what that is.
Yes. Where they're rearing fish in a modern way within the lake, but confined in a cage. That is a huge economic activity for people around there, and that is one of the opportunities of that we have, which we are utilizing well. We have over 700 cages, which are supported by the county government.
Currently, there are.
Yes. They're in the lake. A lot of fish is grown and produced. Maybe that is what you eat here. Do
you have the numbers? Like how many millions fish? That's.
Yeah, I have the number of the cages. It is run under our smart agriculture program, and it's a very successful. You need to have an opportunity come and do a coverage there. It is a very interesting phenomenon.
Yes.
Which the county is taking advantage of.
Okay.
I would also say that as much as environmentally erosion is happening upstream, whatever is eroded is brought downstream to Busia.
Okay.
And one of the natural resources we have is sand. And we are exploiting sustainably. We are the ones, if you were to construct a house in Bungoma here, sections of Siaya and Kisumu, you will have to come for that resource in Busia. So those are some of the opportunities that are, of course, brought about by these challenges. And only that we have now to sustainably, there is that aspect of sustainability, even in terms of, like I mentioned, sand harvesting. As much as it is an opportunity, it can also turn into another environmental disaster if not properly or sustainably exploited.
Yes.
Among others, of course, the rains, we have the rains and a lot of agricultural activities. On the upper side, where we don't experience floods, there is we are, as a county, promoting what we are calling edible oils in terms of groundnuts. The excess rains, of course, I'm just trying to explain how we are exploiting them. And
while there is a lot of rain,
yes,
there is that which the rain can do, right?
Yes.
And that is the groundnut.
Yes, we're doing that among them. There is cotton, which we pioneered. I mean, not pioneered. It was there the old days, but the government has purposed to, revive that kind of sector, And we are utilizing then the rains and these environmental challenges in that manner. I've mentioned here about bamboo, but I didn't tell you more about it. It is an industry by itself.
Yes.
Where there is value addition, there is a group, an organized group, community-based organization, which the county is supporting,
Yes.
which is doing a lot of value addition to bamboo. One, manufacturing briquettes, I told you about it,
Yes.
and supplying to institutions to give them an alternative source of energy so that we reduce. You know, bamboo, as said, it grows very fast.
It grows very fast, and I understand.
Yeah.
The problem with what I see with bamboo, maybe we need to learn from Busia, and I want you to tell us how. Even here in Bungoma and Trans Nzoia, we have farmers who have set up 2, 3, 4 acres of bamboo, and when they are mature, they start wondering, now what do I do with this forest?
Okay. Yeah, so then they should come and do some bit of benchmarking. We have groups which have set up a value addition enterprise for furniture, beads. There is a toothpick making factory which is just about to start running from bamboo. Remember, if you look at the toothpick, I don't know if you have one here packet, you'll see written made in China. And these are some of the things we are really discouraging. So you'll be having a toothpick packet made in Busia.
Busia.
Yes, and these are and more others. These are the kind of enterprises, the innovation mechanism that we are engaging our youths to give them some source of income, and also actively involve them in the contribution to the society. Yeah.
Every community has CFA. CFA is a Community Forest Association.
Yes.
Do you have that in Busia?
Yes, we have mainly what we have in Busia. We have 2 gazetted forests, forest areas. One in the lower side of Bunyala. These are the ones which are managed by KFS. And there's one, a small one, more of a demo within Busia town, which is a forest park and nature trail and some sort of that.
Yes.
But the rest of the forestry is within communal, not communal, individual, properties. I mean, individual lands.
So that eliminates the idea that Busia has a branch of Community Forest Association, right?
I'm not so sure about that.
Because
I'm not very certain. Yeah.
Because then I'll imagine that some of the interventions you are talking about, for example, in terms of managing those resources like the forests themselves. Of course, there is the ministry, there is the department that handles forest, but then these forests are around communities.
Yes.
So the communities that encroach.
Yeah.
So the association usually sensitizes themselves and comes up with innovative ways of, number one, sustaining the forest and deriving the right benefits without destroying them. Yeah. I'm trying to explore the possibility of the existence of such in your county. Yeah,
as I mentioned, unlike our neighbors in Kakamega, you know, the vast Kakamega forest, and I'm sure whatever you're describing is close to what is happening there.
Yes.
We do not have an extensive, say, public or government forest cover
within Busia.
No, not quite elaborate.
Yes.
But we have gazetted areas which we promote forestry on the hilltops and the lower sides of Bunyala. And so we may not have that advantage than others compared to our neighbors, say in Kakamega.
Yeah, and even Trans Nzoia.
Yeah, but we also regulate even afforestation or deforestation, even in private lands. Remember, for you to cut tree, you have to get some permit. You know, there has to be a way of, there is a regulation from the department. The national government handles the gazetted forests, but then the county governments handles now the lower level, the forest or the deforestation within the communities, and therefore it is regulated in some way. Transportation of charcoal, you know, there is some restriction by way of regulating, that is licensing and otherwise. even cutting of trees. There's a lot of licensing that happens,
Okay.
so that you just don't clear the forest even if it is in your land. Remember, it's part of natural resources we are referring to. Yeah.
Another opportunity exists in the education sector.
Yes.
You see, you talked about blue economy.
Yes.
It's an opportunity for Busia County to partner with the learning institutions to set up marine courses. And marine courses may be attractive to a number of students who will be able to, in turn, make it profitable for the county. Number two, I'm trying to look at the possibility of even the elements of climatic conditions in Busia being taught in school as a subject. That way you can be able to sensitize the masses better when you involve the kids and teachers in school.
Yeah. Yeah, like I mentioned earlier, that one of the programs we have, though maybe it may not be directly in classrooms, but we have a program for tree planting in public institutions, and also providing there is what we call this small garden.
Yes.
Fruit trees within the institution, within schools. And this is we do it practically with the involvement of the students.
Yes.
You know, adopt a tree, adopt a fruit kind of approach, such that the school gives us infrastructure. I mean, not infrastructure, just land.
Yes.
We do the facilitation, provide the seedlings, provide support, provide capacity building to the children directly, and of course the leadership of the institution there. So then from there you expect that this whatever is planted is sustained, and we do routine visits to just ensure that they are on the right path. So with this knowledge, you also encourage the students or the children to transfer the same to their respective homesteads.
Yes.
So directly not in the curricula, but in terms as the Department of Environment, directly not in this curricula, but practically working together to pass that information to the young ones to ensure that they carry it with them to their respective.
The element of reporting, you see, you have quite a number of activities going on.
Yes.
I'm interested. I did a research recently along the lake shores.
Yes.
I stumbled on a number of opportunities there. And one of the things I came across was there is a breeding site next to Bumbe Institution, managed by Bumbe.
Yes.
I didn't know about the cages. I should have tried to go
Yes.
But then, you see, there are a number of activities and opportunities that we keep on looking at. And we only highlight it when it is bad. In the media, we keep on joking that when it bleeds, then it leads. Why don't we come up with a way of highlighting these things, or how best can we do it? Because what I encountered during my research was totally different. In fact, I wondered why Busia is not so much in the limelight with such opportunities existing.
Yeah.
And then another thing came to my mind: why don't we have a sporting activity along Lake Victoria?
Thank you. Maybe you may not know, and as a major media station within Western Kenya, I think you need to explore the opportunities we have in the lower side of this county. There are a lot of sporting activities. In fact, famously, towards the end of the year, when we are doing our cultural activities, you will find there is a lot of boat racing, which I don't know if you've not heard about it. So there are a lot of sports activities happening. We have beaches, which people go there to enjoy and do the water activities, which include boat riding, swimming, and all that comes along with that. But as you said, as a media, I would encourage that, other than highlighting when there are floods, when people are being displaced, when there are bad things happening, you need also to get your time and do proper documentaries of the good opportunities that we have down there. On the lower side of this county in Budalangi, where in Budalangi we are bordering River Yala from the other side of Siaya. And there is this expansive Yala swamp, right from the upper side of Lake Kanyabol in Siaya all the way to the lake. Very, very highly productive agricultural land, which has partially been reclaimed by the locals, with a high potential of even feeding the entire country. The county government is really focusing on, of course, through a proper land management and utilization plan, to do reclamation of more of that land for agricultural purposes.
Yes.
Once, after the Bunyala irrigation scheme, you know, we still have thousands of acres which are still available but have not been properly or maximized in terms of utilization for production. So those are some of the opportunities which you people need to talk about, and you know, bringing that out to the public, and maybe attract investors to come and see how we can partner on such.
So do you recommend, or do you agree with me if I recommend a tour? You organize a tour for us?
Oh yes, definitely we can do that, yeah.
So in what ways can we want to give time to discuss opportunities in environmental and environment, natural, water, and climate change within Busia County.
Yeah.
What will be the best approach? Do we wait for your calendar, or do we drive the agenda? Who should be in charge of that conversation? Because as the media, we always want to do what is verified. I can come and do a story about fish breeding.
Yes.
But you are not available to verify that story.
Yeah.
So it goes as fake news.
True.
Yes. So who should lead? As in, because I'm saying that to say, for positive change or for positive impact, the media, for positive change advanced by the media, there has to be a collaboration of some sort.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, I think this can be a joint effort, just like we've done today. We discussed and agreed to meet and have this information communicated to the public. It is not a difficult thing. We are available, and we would also like to have this part of information shared to the public.
Yes.
Busia and of course this county of Bungoma, we are neighbors. We share a lot, as I said. As much as you pollute, not you, but the activities upstream here pollute water.
Yes.
We get down there very dirty and go through a lot of effort to have it potable properly for consumption. We also benefit from, as I said, erosion that happens there, brings sand, and we get back to sell to you. So this, we are interconnected and dependent. I mean, we depend on each other and share a lot of natural resources. Maybe in this breath, I would also want to use this opportunity to, there is, we share like water resources.
Yes.
There is a project which was recently launched by the president called Malakisi Water, where from the same source of Malakisi River upstream, we draw water to serve the lower side of Busia, I mean the upper side of Malaba, and along the way we serve Bungoma. So this is how closely we interconnected. Yeah. And natural resources do not respect boundaries. I keep on saying that.
Yes.
The rivers don't respect, they don't know that I've crossed. I had arguments, of course, in other political forums that you are taking, like the Busia people are taking our water, you know, from there, and we are not benefiting. Of course, there has to be a way of ensure that some form of equity, where the source is, everybody needs this resource.
Yes.
But the thinking that the water belongs, because the same molecule of water, whether we draw it from there, from Bungoma, it will still find itself down to the lake.
Yes.
Yes. So that is the way to look at it, that you know, is a shared resource, and we have to jointly find a way of sustainably exploring and exploiting, so that we even have it for our future generation.
Okay, we're just coming to the tail end of the program.
Yes.
Just want you to look at Busia County, look at the department which you head.
Yes.
Look at the county administration and the effort it's doing,
Yes.
collaborating between departments. And just do your last word.
Yes.
What will you say? Just feel free. Just don't
Yeah.
take an hour, but just
Yeah.
just do the summary of what is happening.
Yeah.
And just conclude by that.
Thank you. As the county government, we have set up the policy and regulatory framework on various aspects of natural resources. We have a climate change policy in place, in action. We also, of course, just like any other county, have the County Climate Change Act, which is operational. We have also set aside a fraction, mandatory, a fraction of our development budget to go towards environmental conservation, which is a minimum of 2% of our development budget is annually set aside, and that is how much important we are putting this into consideration. We have the sand utilization, Sustainable Sand Utilization and Utilization Act. We have Sustainable Forest Utilization Bill and regulations, and many other framework legal structures that are required to ensure that we sustainably utilize our natural resources without affecting or compromising the environment, and of course affecting the future generation. Back to the media, I really I want to appreciate the support, the kind of support in terms of awareness, because most of these things is just awareness creation, because environment, as I said, is just our surrounding, and it has to be taken right to the households, each household. The tree planting is an action for everybody. This long rain season, I encourage that at least plant minimum 10 trees. Minimum. If all of us did that at our household level, then directly we are contributing to this 15 billion that we are talking about. So we encourage, and working together with our communities, working together with our partners to ensure that we focus and reach out to our target of having the environmental conservation aspects in place, the 15 billion tree target, reduction on land degradation, and many other specific aspects. So through these measures, and as you said, we encourage that we join hands with the fourth estate so that we can disseminate this information to all the actors and have it implemented.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Waziri Andrew Meso is here with us. He's been talking about matters environment. He heads a department in the county government of Busia. They have a very long name: water, environment, climate change. What else?
Irrigation, natural resources, and energy. Yeah.
Whoa! And
of
energy.
Yes.
That means you tap sun, right?
Yes.
Or you are dreaming to start tapping the sun.
We do tap.
Or you are generating energy from the water.
Renewable energy from many sources. Yeah.
That's very interesting. So I just want to thank you for taking time. You started by saying sending greetings from the governor.
Yes.
So on behalf of my employers and my colleagues, I want to collectively whole and sizable amount of greetings back to him.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
And thank you for hosting me.
Okay.
Asante.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
My colleagues will be taking you further in subsequent content that we have prepared for you from now up to the evening. I just want to encourage you to stay on Westv. It's just coming up to 10 in the morning. I want to say thank you for staying with us. Stay on Twitter, or it's actually called XCOM. Westv_Kenya. Facebook is Westv, and on YouTube is Westv Kenya. You can also reach me up on X at Mr. Kitui, at Kitui Ohwasimiti on our social media. So without taking much time, I just want to encourage you to keep on staying. And on behalf of my director, Kevin Kibet, this is CKS.
Tazama